So, right, guys, thanks for joining us tonight for the Sheffield and Hampshire League's forum on the restart of football. Basically, as an overall, it's more of a thank you to you all for joining us tonight, but a thank you for the last few months and the conclusion to last season, the work in last season, and it is just a really good opportunity just to say thank you to everyone as a whole. It's been great to have you working with us, and as it says on here, I just wanted to share one of the FA slides. It's leagues and clubs is where the majority of our grassroots football takes place, and we want that to be the best places for people to play and enjoy football. And I think we've got some amazing leagues in our county, offering loads of different varieties of the game, and it's just where we go forward with that. And just again, thank you. So we're going to cover quite a few different aspects, going through a range of, let's say, thank yous, the guidance that's just recently come out regarding FA return of football, restart of competitive football and fixtures for leagues. We're going to have a touch on technology, bits to do with facilities, and then a bit from Nathan Batchelor from the FA regarding some support and updates from an FA point of view. And then, like I say, we're just going to have a bit of a Q&A at the end. Feel free to stick some questions in the chat function. But if you can save all your questions till the end, we will go through them. There'll be an opportunity to go and ask any specifics or whatever you might have. So like I say, just starting off with a big thank you. Overall, it's been a tough couple of months for ourselves as a county, for yourselves as leagues, and a bit of uncertainty throughout. And the main thing is, as it says around here, you've been patient with us with releasing guidance, getting that to you guys to follow that on and communicate with your clubs. We now have every single league using FA whole game system for the player reg. So again, integrating onto that or staying on that and working with us through the updates with player emails coming involved and bits and pieces like that. We just want to say thank you for those. Concluding your seasons, it was difficult. We had a range of different scenarios. Oops, just lost my place. Different scenarios. But yeah, I think you all dealt with that perfectly. All leagues got concluded in time, and clubs were overall, I think, happy with the conclusions that came in place. Online meetings like we're doing tonight, I think people have had to be flexible, whether it's AGMs, where it's just keeping in touch with your clubs, where it's being involved with ourselves. Just a thank you for using the technology and through these hard times being innovative and adapting to what we've got to play with. Working with us on club affiliations, following up clubs, and helping us get through those, and then just generic club support, whether that's player registrations, affiliations, like I say, or just general support. I think it's been a really difficult time, but again, thank you for working with us on with clubs and everything that you've been doing over these last few months, and hopefully continue. Just to give you a breakdown of the leagues we've got confirmed for next season, it's pretty much the same as last season, but I just wanted to throw a list out there just to show that we've got a large number of leagues in the county, covering, again, loads of different aspects and covering different levels. And like I say, it goes back to that FA initiative of best places to play for all. I think we've got a good range of leagues within our county that offer those opportunities. And I think that's going to continue as well. Ooh, a little late coming, Paul. So moving on from here, like I say, the agenda, I've touched on it already. Like I say, we're going to give a bit of a county FA update where we stand in regards to numbers and bits and pieces like that. Football restarts, we're going to go through that guidance, which has been released by the FA a few weeks ago, which we've sent out to you directly from the FA, and I think I've sent it out to all of you again. So you should be aware of it, but we're going to go through it briefly as well. FA technology, a bit of an update on there, and again, another thank you. Mark Wozniak, our facilities investments manager, is just going to do a bit of an update on facilities and where we stand on those in regards to local authorities, funding, bits and pieces around there. So we know it's a concern for clubs, and it's probably a concern for you as leagues on when you can get restarted. Support available for leagues. So Nathan Batchelor's from the FA National Grassroots League Service Manager. He's just going to give us a bit of an update on where the FA stand on this and what support's out there and some other ideas that you might not have thought of yet that you could take on board for this season. That's going to have to be a bit different, a bit flexible, and like I say, quite innovative as well. And then, like I say, right at the end, we're just going to have a bit of Q&A, concerns, barriers to restarting, and where you stand as a league, and any good practice that you might want to share with us as well. That would be great. So, Sheffield and Hampshire County FA updates. There's quite a few. Tried to keep it reasonably short, but we're at a stage where majority of staff are now back working remotely from home. We're working through all club affiliations, so I've just noticed I've got not the most recent updates. Let me get the update on. My bad, guys. Just flash through this again. That's the wrong one as well, of course. There we go. Sarah, you're right to just confirm that you can see my screen, please?
Yep, can see that.
Yeah. Sorry about that, guys. I'm using the old one. Not missed anything. It's just this new, I've updated the numbers today. So, like I say, majority of staff are now back working. Abide that is remotely from home. But we are contacted on mobiles, as a lot of you know, and through our emails still. So we're kind of back to full capacity nearly now. The main bit of work over these last few months has been working through club affiliations. So as you know, it's a big piece of work for us at the beginning of the season, and we're at a stage where we're quite happy. We've still got some chasing up for the clubs that haven't started, with around 125 not started, 83 in progress. That might be just that we've not got to them yet to approve them, because we are working through them as they come in, or they might just not have paid the public liability or for some other reason. But we're hoping to get those completed, and like I say, we're at a good number where we're at just over 500 approved and completed and ready to go in effect. League sanctioning, very same. Majority are at a stage where they've completed that. I've been going through those. The last 4 that are in progress, again, following those up, nothing wrong with those leagues. They're just getting to a stage where they might just have the bank details left to submit to me, or just a few little league rules that might be amending, but we'll be chasing them up over the next few weeks as well, just to make sure they're all ticked off. Referee registrations, we're currently at 541, whereas last season we were at 867. It looks like a drop. It might be because we opened registration a little bit later. We've not currently got to really pushing this yet with referees as well. And then the main reason is the obvious, that we've not really been able to recruit any new referees just due to lockdown. We've not been able to have any FA courses as a whole, including the referee courses, unfortunately. FA guidance, like the one that we're going to talk about in this one for leagues, there's also been guidance that's come out for clubs, facility providers, referees, and these are all available online on our website, on the FA website. So any guidance or queries from clubs, individuals that might come to you, that's the best way to send them to that. Any specifics, they can come to us. But most of the guidance does cover everything that the clubs, facility providers, referees need to know. We did a club consultation, even, that's supposed to say, early at the start of lockdown. And this was basically to understand what clubs want us to focus on moving into next season. We got some good feedback, and the main 3 areas that came out of it were what we expected. In fact, we're funding facilities and player recruitment retention, which we're always focusing on. Funding, I guess the FA and ourselves have been able to waive our club and team affiliation fees, which has definitely supported clubs, I believe, especially how the season ended last season. And I know a lot of leagues have been in a position where they've been able to reduce their fees or waive them as well, which has been great. So another thank you to you guys out there. Facilities, again, Mark's going to get onto this in a bit on what sort of funds have been put into these facilities, whether it's club facilities, private facilities, local authorities, whatever that might be. And the player recruitment and retention, that's something that we're always focusing on. Retaining the players that we already have within them clubs, making them the best places to play, and then looking out to recruit new players in different communities, areas within the county that we might not have been in before. We have been in the office slightly to do FA DBS verifications for clubs, for individuals who can't get them done through clubs, so whether that's a new welfare officer, referees. So we have been in the office slightly, but like I say, majority of staff are still working from home. player registration and club support. So as I touched on, another thank you to you guys. Now we've got every single league on whole game player reg. There has been a few errors, a few bits and pieces that have cropped up, and I know it's been frustrating for a few leagues and clubs that might be new to it or existing. But we are working through them, and again, thank you for yourselves for working with us and supporting your clubs. And again, any queries, they can go to the FA Technology Hub. There's loads of guidance on there, or come to us directly, and we'll be happy to help with any errors that they can't get through themselves. Like I say, there's some positives that have come out of the lockdown, and the numerous new clubs and teams that we've had for the upcoming season has been a real positive. It's been a surprise at first, but it does make sense when you think about clubs that have might have thought about creating in the past. Individuals might have thought about creating a club with the mates in the past, and it's not coming to fruition because they've been busy. Lockdown's kind of given people a chance to take a step back and have that time to put something in place. So we have got a large range of new clubs and new teams, as I imagine a lot of you have taken on new teams for the upcoming season. So it's looking positive in regards to teams and player numbers. And then finally, just an update on the 2020-21 plan this season coming up from an FA and a county FA point of view. We're still looking to do everything that we'd usually do in development, recruitment of players, like I say, but the main emphasis is on a safe return to football for all. And with that, that's working with you guys, it's making sure clubs are in a position to have a safe return, and leagues are happy and ready to go on time, or if it's even slightly delayed, whatever that might be. So that's our push going forward. But we'll still be concentrating on recruiting new players, getting people involved in developing whatever's needed out there. So there's still going to be work going on in development point of view. So just moving on from there, like I said, we're going to go on to this football restart, which should have all been sent, the COVID-19 guidance on restarting outdoor competitive grassroots football, which relates to leagues. It does touch on a lot that's probably you're already aware of already, but there's a few key considerations that you might want to take into consideration before the season, during the season, and then some other considerations and support within that. I'm not going to go through it all, but just picked out some key areas that you might already be or want to be aware of or learn more about. So key considerations, things to be considered. Yes, the return of footballs can be from September the 1st. However, you need to make sure that you're in a position to do this, and most of all, your clubs feel comfortable and are in a position to do this. Whether they've got the risk assessments in place, they're comfortable with the guidance that's been put out there, and then the main one really, the facilities. This, I know, again, it's been a concern that's been shared from me from numerous leagues, but I think it's that communication that's coming from you to your clubs to understand where they are, if they've got the facility ready, how many of your clubs have got a facility ready, and give them that support where needed if they are struggling. Maintaining regular dialogue with the clubs throughout, again, touches on the last point, just sharing any guidance that comes out, any messages from us, which I know you always do, and returning those messages from clubs, any concerns back to ourselves again, which we always get back. I think that's quite a strong one that we have throughout the county. Pitch availability, as we've already touched on, I think it's something that we need to communicate with our clubs, and something this guidance touches on quite a lot, about making sure that your clubs are in a position and know that they've got those pitches ready to go for whether you're starting on time, you're going to be delayed, whatever that might be. And then finally, from regards to communication, just having a list of club COVID-19 officers will probably help you, just so you've got that point of call for any new guidance that come out, any updates, or any concerns coming from those clubs that you can feedback to ourselves. Another key consideration that's come out of this guidance is fixtures. So again, just trying to be as flexible as possible and communicating with your clubs. It is going to be a strange season. It's probably going to have potential stop and starts if there's any local lockdowns, any other concerns that might pop up. So we're back to football again. Can't stress we're back to football, but it's not full blown. We're not going to be straight back in as normal. There's still going to be things to take into consideration. And as it says, there might be ideas like smaller division sizes. Again, the guidance touches on being creative, innovative around fixture programs, and potentially considering reviewing league rules, cut-off dates, kick-off times, being flexible with those, whether it's a facility and two clubs share it, and facilities potentially guidances that they have to have longer breaks between fixtures to one team to come off and one team to come on. It's just being considerate and communicating that with your clubs and potentially putting that into your fixtures. So before the season starts, this is another area within the guidance. I just picked out some key points in regards to yourselves as leagues that you need to take into account, and clubs which you can feed down, which we will be feeding as well. So leagues, an obvious one, being sanctioned. Again, something that we've done really well already. Large majority of leagues are already sanctioned. This also includes sanctioning in your league cups if you're looking at concluding those for last season. League rules to be used to develop flexibility, whether that is kick-off times, whatever that might be. Again, just communicating with clubs, being flexible with them, because it is going to be a different season compared to the normal. And like I say, these leagues that are looking to do cups for 2019-20, your player eligibility is determined by you. I know a lot have already communicated this to clubs, and I've gone to a vote or whatever it might be. But it's whether you use player registrations from the previous season for those clubs completing the cups, or allow players that have been registered for this season. But again, I know a lot of this has already taken place, but it's something to be aware of if that's leagues one that you're abiding to. Finally, on the league side, it's just league workforce may have changed. Again, this is another thank you, because you've all seemed to have communicated this correctly with us and well, and been open with if there's been any changes or any individuals dropping out and new people have stepped in. And I personally, and I know the rest of the team, have had good first impressions and good first communications and lots of communication with these new officials, asking us for support and guidance, which is what we're there for at the end of the day. And I think it's positive going forward that we've got some really strong relationships that we already had and we've continued to build throughout this period. And finally, just from a league point of view, just having your league AGMs. These have got to take place before your season starts. Majority have already happened, whether that's virtually as well. And again, we can support with these, whether it's IT issues, you want us involved on them, whatever that is. Let us know if you need any help with league AGMs. From a club point of view, again, another obvious, just affiliate, make sure they're affiliated before completing any fixtures before the season starts, or any friendlies, which again, we're looking back at those numbers, we've got the large majority ticking that box. Player registration, another obvious. A lot of you have already started registering players, approving them, rejecting them, going back, whatever that might be, and just working with us to make sure players are registered before the season starts again. Touched on it already, clubs must have a COVID-19 officer. We did have a meeting on this Monday, which Sarah and Claire from our team ran. Well attended, and I think it was just more to give an idea on what that role is, and just making it a bit more simpler. So I think a lot were worried that it were a bit more complicated than it had to be. So it's just basically responsible for a COVID-19 plan and risk assessment. So just making sure that you know those clubs have got a COVID-19 officer in place, and probably having a list of those. So you've got like I say on that earlier point, having a key point of contact to signpost any information to regarding new guidance coming out. Consider holding general meetings to discuss the restart of football. This is one where you might have already had these sort of meetings regarding going back to football. I've been involved in a few where clubs have had concerns or asked questions, but it's maybe one you want to do now. You're kind of in a position where you know when your season might be starting, just to understand again, going back to that communication with your clubs, that clubs are ready, they know they've got everything in place, any concerns that might have come up, again, going back to facilities, potentially one that you might want to look at getting put in place. And again, we're happy to support and be involved on that if you want us to be involved. So just moving on from before the season, I've just got a quick overall on during the season. Some of it might apply to you, some of it might not, depending on what your league has in regards to these. So ID cards, we know not every single league has them, but this is more about using technology a bit more, which I know a lot of you are using as we are tonight. ID cards, can these be done electronically instead of handing them over? This is in the guidance. Team sheets, again, we know clubs, referees ask for team sheets being handed in certain leagues. Can these be done virtually? Again, just reducing that contact with different individuals from different households. It's something that might not last forever, but there's definitely tools out there regarding team sheets, whether that's using full-time, match day, sending out virtually through an email, whatever that might be. Again, touching on the same subjects, reducing that contact with different households. Respect handshakes, as we know, watching the pro game, there's been no respect handshakes before the game or anything like that. It's one that's a strange one because it's a nice thing to do, but for the time being, it's one that's a no-no, I'm afraid, which is a shame. But hopefully it won't be forever because it's a good part of the game before and after. But at the moment, that's the guidance that's in place. Match official payments, again, usually done in cash to a referee on the day of the game. Can these be done electronically where possible? Whether it's done beforehand or post the game, it's again coming down to that communication with your match officials and your clubs, whether that's a position that they'll be able to do. Again, coming back to a bit of social distancing for the clubs to be aware of technical areas, whether it's a club that owns their own facility or they're using public and private sectors facilities, they need to be social distanced throughout. So whether that's a club who own their own facility and that they're expanding their technical area so there's room to do that, or it's just making sure that when players are on the sideline, when coaches, managers are on the sideline, that they're still abiding by the 2 metre rule. Non-fulfilment of fixtures. Treat these like you would any other fixture. At the end of the day, as a league, your role is to govern the league and run the league as you would any other season. It's not your role to police the guidance in place or police the clubs are meeting the guidance. That's for them to police themselves and for anything to be sent to ourselves to look into. And it comes down to education, as it says in this last point. What is the role of the leagues? If a club breaches COVID-19, it's not your role at the end of the day. It's down to the clubs and for us to make sure that we're getting that education out there and clubs are all aware that they know what they need to meet. And like I say, a lot of these things hopefully won't be forever. But for the time being, we're back to football just with these slight areas in place that we need to abide to. There's a few other bits in these, guys, like I was saying, just touching on some main points. And then, like I say, if you have had that guidance already, you've had a look through it, or if you've got any other questions, feel free to give us a shout at the end, or we can talk after this as well. So, like I say, I'm just going to move on to FA technology for leagues and clubs. Again, like I said at the beginning, it's another thank you from ourselves. Me personally, I kind of took a bit of a lead on this, on getting new leagues onto Whole Game Player Edge alongside the FA tech team and my colleague Rob Wharton. And it's something where we've really been quite successful, and we have pretty much every league, 20 leagues as it says there, on Player Edge whole game system, which is brilliant. And just pulling some numbers off from today, we've got 3 leagues that currently haven't registered any players, whether that's because they've just not got to that yet. They might be still restructuring the league setup, or they've not affiliated, or whatever that might be. It's not an issue. It's just something to be aware of if that's one of you. And 6 leagues that currently only registered less than 100 players. Again, not a massive issue, but if you are looking to start in September, that could be something that you need to start pushing with your teams to get all them players registered and ready to go. Just on the right hand side, number of teams in the leagues, we've got 2,419 and over 18,000 players have been registered over the youth and adult game, which is massive numbers, to be fair. And as you can see, we're bringing in player emails in this season, which I know a lot of you have made mandatory, which have again had its issues and frustrations, which I've potentially shared with you as well. I know, again, it's another thank you for trying to push that and educating clubs and understanding why we've put that in place and why the FA have put that in place and the functionalities in place there. And as you can see, the number of adult players and youth players that have been registered, it equates to the emails that have come through as well. They're pretty much nearly 100% on the emails for each player that's been registered. And like I said, this is more of a thank you slide for working with us through this time. And if there is any further questions as we've gone through club, FA technology, whatever that might be, signpost to the Grassroots Technology Hub, FA Digital Gym, as I know some of you call it. It's got pretty much every guidance note on there to tick the box step by step for clubs to look through and yourselves. We know there has been some errors, so that's when they've got to come to us specific. But most of the stuff is on that grassroots technology, so that should be your first point of call for any issues with player edge, whole game system, full time, whatever it might be. So yeah, just moving on, I'm going to give you another voice, and that's my colleague Mark Wozniak. He's the Sheffield and Hampshire County FA Facilities Investment Manager. He's just going to go over facilities and pitches update, and it gives a bit of an idea on funding as well. So Mark, are you there, mate?
Yep, can you hear me?
Yep, go for it.
Hi everyone. I'll just go through everything in terms of the most updates as possible. Obviously, speaking to the local councils, and they're all in different positions at the moment in terms of where their pitches are. In terms of Rotherham, Sheffield, they tend to be sort of looking at internal process around where their pitches are and if they'll be opening them up. They're currently closed as we speak, and they're trying to get confirmation from their designated people inside. Yeah, there's a bit of an echo, I think. Are you muted, Leon?
Apologies, mate. Give me 2 seconds. Just have to go out of it. That's all.
Is that all right?
Yeah, you're fine now, Matt. Yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah, so in terms of Rotherham and Sheffield, they're looking at an internal process for when they're going to allow their grass pitches to be open. Barnsley, when I last spoke to them, they were looking at towards late September, possibly October for their pitches, due to the fact that they need to maintain them and get the work on and get the workers back to that sort of ground maintenance. Doncaster, they're pretty much ready to go. Theirs have been marked, cut. Goals will probably still be up, so they're ready to go in terms of any friendlies. So anybody who wants to play a friendly on there, please contact them and do that. In terms of HCFEs, they're all individual cases, so it's worthwhile if the clubs are on those sites. It's actually going to speak to them and actually working on what facilities are open at this point. I know in my area there's a number of leisure sites that have opened. And in terms of that, it's each individual club to go out to those facilities. I think for any of you guys, if you've got any new teams that sort of are struggling for facility, or if we ain't got a pitch or anything like that, I would signpost them to Pitch Finder. On there, it'll give you every sort of site within our county, what the pitch sizes are, what the facilities on there, and the main contact for that site. So yeah, if they are struggling, do signpost them to the Pitch Finder website, and to obviously get as much information or any pictures they need to use on there. If you have any problems, by all means, just give them my details as well. I'm more than happy to support with that. Leon, if you want to just pass on to the next one. Brilliant. So obviously the last couple of months, there's been a number of things that have happened in terms of funding wise. The recent one that's just come out with is the Club Preparation Fund to help clubs with COVID. In terms of the other stuff related to the Pitch Preparation Fund, we had obviously 162,000 coming to our area for those clubs over, which has been really good to say. I've not been in my role to promote that or get as many clubs to sign up to that. In terms of the Henance Grass Pitch Improvement Revenue Grants, I'm not sure if all of you are aware of this. It's a 10-year programme where clubs can sign up to grass pitch maintenance contracts. It's fully funded for the first 2 years. After that, it's 67% funded for years 3 and 4. Then 5 and 6, it's 33% funded. And after that, the club then needs to contribute the full amount of whatever that is. So yeah, like I said, it's quite a large amount, just over 500,000 of clubs that have signed up to that. Off the top of my head, let's just have a look how many we've got on. I think it's on about 20 clubs, if not a lot more, that have signed up to that. And then over the last sort of probably this year, due to the fact that we now, or the Football Foundation is now offering 75% towards grass maintenance equipment, we've had clubs that have really signed up to that now, and we've got over 300 cases actually now that have signed up to the grass pitch maintenance equipment. So yeah, that's where we're at in terms of grass pitch. So hopefully this year, when we're going forward, if the weather's good, we should have some really great pitches to play on when we're ready, and hopefully they're a really good standard. Yeah, just moving on to you now, Leon.
Sorry, I muted myself. Great, cheers for that, Mark. So next on, we're just going to move on to Nathan Batchelor from the FA. Just gives us a bit more idea on support available for clubs. I don't know if you're there, Nathan.
Thanks, Leon.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody. Nice to see so many familiar faces. It's nice to return to the home county, so to speak. I'll keep this brief because I appreciate it's probably going to be more questions and answers tonight. So this slide here touches on what Leon's already sort of covered. There's a lot of guidance out. Obviously, League Specific came out last week. But obviously, there's a lot of other things about just general clubs, referees, facilities. So hopefully you've all seen that, and as Leon's touched on, it's on the FA website and on the county website. So we'll move on, Leon. So within the guidance, a nice story to pick out of all this is to recognise and appreciate the NHS and all the key workers. So the FA have allowed dispensation this year for clubs to put a badge on their kit. So I just thought it's a bit nicer to do. Obviously, football's return, that's great. We've got some issues to address and work around, but obviously it's an opportunity that we all know football plays a massive role in the community, and here's an opportunity to recognise those that have really helped us as a whole community and appreciate their support and help they're given. So there's rules around this, basically no hashtags, you know, news a thank you for the NHS or a rainbow or whatever sort of motif. I know some leagues across the country are considered having their own sort of thank you NHS logo on available for teams to look at or to purchase. So yeah, it's just an opportunity there to recognise the work of those that made us safe. And then moving on. This will really help. So this comes out annually. It's the faith calendar, and I'll say it will help because if you're looking at your fixture program, it's being aware of the different religious festivals that are taking place and just making note of them so that you're aware just of any sort of issues that might come up, especially sort of Eid is a prime example. Sometimes that clashes a lot, but it's just being mindful. So this is not new, it's just been updated for this year, so that might help with your fixtures. Yeah, this was out about a year ago. It says youth leadership. It's all about trying to get new volunteers into your league committees if you want to look at that, and having a youth voice. So you might recognise there's a couple on here. So within this guidance, Cameron Connor from Sheffield's in it. It talks about a league, Walsall League. I think Sheffield's mentioned within here. So it's about using the young people's voice. So, you know, especially for Youth League, making sure their voice is heard, understood, appreciated. But also for adult leagues, is getting people there that are good at social media, for example, tapping into their skills. And it might be you just use them for a year. It helps them with their education, but also helps you as a league because, you know, it's a win-win for both. So there's some this guide talks about opportunities that are available, so it's worth looking at if you've not already done so. This is whistle stop.
Yeah.
Hopefully you'll receive the monthly newsletter. This goes to league secretaries. I don't know if it goes to chairs or not. I'll have to check out, but hopefully you receive that once a month. But also now we've got our own page on the FA website. I can't tell you how big a success that is, getting our own page on there. So on there, we've got some case studies. So we looked at different leagues and different clubs about how they've used VAT return, for example, or social media. We've had monthly webinars since the lockdown with my colleague Danielle running. So hopefully you've seen them. If you missed any, we can get access to the recordings if you want to look at them. And that sort of stuff about using your role in the community, business continuity planning, social media, finances. We've done like a whole suite of different opportunities, and they'll be ongoing in the future. And there's some support on there as well. So legal questions from Muckle LLP, frequently asked questions on there as well. So if you wanted any sort of legal help, there's some FAQs on there which would help. But there's some case studies as well to help you and your clubs as well. And yeah, this is sort of my takeaway thoughts really after writing the guidance, reading all the other guidance, and even listening to Leon tonight when he plays it all back. there's a real opportunity here. I mean, it's full of ideas, potential, connection, collaboration between the leagues and the counties, trying to make yourself sustainable as much as possible. So what we've seen is that people have used this time to get all that stuff that you'd love to have done, but never quite had the time to do. But now you've had the time to do it. So, you know, and that's been a real sort of positive. But a lot of this is about flexibility. In the guidance, one of the appendices talks about all the league rules within standard code that you could adopt. Now, if you've got your own domestic rules, have a look at them as well if you've got any dates or players. And what we suggested is give yourself as much flexibility as possible, just because we don't know. We know every season stop-start, and last year we had the floods, but we know for certain this year will be stop-start. So can we build ourselves some flexibility? And it's easier to add games on than try and cram games in. And engagement. So it's like Mark talks about engagement with the council, your local, about their facilities. The clubs own their facilities. Were they available? Do the clubs feel comfortable and safe playing? When do they feel comfortable? But so if you press the button, the next one. So I love this trick. So the golden thread throughout all of this, and it wasn't my poor formatting of them words, was innovation. There's a real opportunity to be innovative here. And it'd be silly not to take this time to be that and to do that. Yes, you don't have to be, but there's an opportunity here to, you know, sort of see how can we do things a little bit differently. And, you know, and here's that opportunity to do that perhaps. So the final slide, if my memory's correct, this is a concept called circle leagues. So in the fixture program, you might have smaller squad size, smaller division sizes. You might have one big division and split it after after playing each other once. That's fine. Or you might use the principle of the trophy events of having different part seasons because it's going to be stop-start. So this concept is that you've got a circle, and you can have as many circles and as many segments as you want. And you could have it that you play in this scenario here, you play each other, you could play each other once or twice, but 4 in a segment. After that segment's finished, you could all teams that finish once in that segment, top place could play each other, or top one could stay and second could move anti-clockwise, etc. There's all sorts of different options within there. The beauty of this, and I'm not selling this as an option because it's completely up to you, is if you have a lockdown or since a stop-start, it only affects that segment and it's only that point in time. So there's an opportunity there to be a little bit more innovative and creative. But fundamentally, do what's right for your club and your members, as you'd always do, and engage with them. See if they like that concept. See if they like, you know, the concept of a split season or smaller divisions. Just engage with your members. Yeah, I get your point, Paul, about the NLS won't do this, and this is very much for the grassroots game. I get your issue, Paul. I understand that fully. I'm talking sort of below that, but yeah. So that's me done, really, guys. But I'd echo what Leon said. A massive thank you for everything that you do. It's been an interesting season. You've dealt extremely well with the conclusion of last season. And I can see on Twitter, for those who know that I love to tweet and keep my eyes on Twitter, that the work that's happening in this area is absolutely brilliant. You can just see it in the numbers there. More teams wishing to join your leagues, more players registered. You're doing an absolutely tremendous job. So if you get stuck, there's all the websites, but there's also your county FA, the guys here to help and support you. So that's me done, but just a massive thank you.
Perfect. No, thank you, Nathan. I think you've summed that up brilliantly. It's great to have someone from the FA directly communicating with leagues as well, instead of just coming from ourselves. I guess that's everything from us, guys. I imagine, I can't see, but I imagine there's quite a few bits in the chat. But we will be able to ask questions verbally if you want to as well, just on by pressing the three dots and just pressing on the hand signal, or just raising your hand and we'll try and get through pretty much all if we can. I'm just going to jump back out of this, cancel that off, stop sharing my screen, and let's have a look through the chat. We've got a lot. Sarah, have you been keeping track of this
I think
chat?
we're pretty much up to date with the chat. I know when Mark spoke about funding, a couple of questions came in on that, so we'll make sure that everybody gets links to any funding opportunities that are still open.
Okay, so we're pretty.
I think Rachel's made one about league funding. So there was the IT grant for leagues, but unfortunately that's been stopped now because of just the cutbacks that we find ourselves in, which is unfortunate. But if you read the news, the FA's lost £300 million, so there's cutbacks quite a lot. We are fighting the issue whenever we can about helping leagues as much as we can. But yeah, so I take on board the point. But equally, there's opportunities for you as leagues, because you're all on whole game system that enables match day potentially to help support your clubs even more. So there's opportunities to help your clubs by using funding that's available for them.
No worries, that's great. Yeah, sorry guys, I didn't mute myself. I couldn't actually see the chat at the time if it was echoing on Nathan's. That's my bad. I hope you all got what you were saying anyway. Nice one. So have we covered everything in this chat, Sarah, do you say, up to now?
No, I've just got a question in from Richard, just asking when can we expect new referee courses to start coming. We're unsure on that at the minute, Richard. We're waiting just for further FA guidance, and then we'll make a decision in terms of our courses. One thing that we have been doing over this time in preparation for the restart of football is trying to support as many referees from last year to complete the registrations for this year. So we definitely know they're all coming through. We're doing ID cards for referees again for youth football, and we'll be trying to support as many as possible from last year to return. And we've got programmes in place moving forward to mentor and support new and young referees as well. So whilst we're not getting any new ones coming in through courses, we're trying to support the existing ones as much as possible.
Cheers, Sarah. Courses. Yeah, just regarding courses in general, the FA have updated, and there will be some releases regarding online courses in the interim while we can't run any in-house courses. Safeguarding online committee members and the online refresher is available. That's been available throughout. I think there's a safeguarding one in the pipeline. You might be able to give a bit more clarity on that, Sarah. And I think there's potentially a first aid one.
Yeah.
So they are trying to make things flexible and available online, but we know that's probably not possible for referee courses, coaching courses, bits like that. There's the FA Playmaker course, which is kind of the interim before the level one. If there's any coaches that want to start coaching in the interim before we can't start courses. But other than that, there's just going to be a bit of a delay on getting people qualified for any that we can't do online, I'm afraid.
So as an interim measure, the FA Playmaker course is the one that we're signposting new coaches to.
Yeah.
In terms of safeguarding, if people's already done a safeguarding workshop previously, they can do the online recertification, which is free, and that will extend their qualification for another 3 years. For any new coaches coming into the game, as an interim measure, there is an online safeguarding for all qualification, and we'll make sure that you get all these links as well if you want to pass that on. The biggest thing for grassroots coaches, in order for them to continue, is the DBS for anybody that's working with under 18. So that's the main bit that's mandatory.
Just got one from Richard regarding how, I'm presuming that's how many referees were down from last year. I don't know if you know the numbers for that, Sarah.
Yeah,
I gave the numbers of registration. Yeah,
it's difficult to compare this time to last year. At the end of last season compared to now, we're about 300 referees down. We already know that the challenges that we've got with referees. Speaking to leagues, this time last year it came up as the top priority or the top challenge for leagues. So we will continue to work on referee retention, referee recruitment when we can do. We're aware of the challenges it may cause over the next few months if there's no courses running. So all we can do with that is keep working together and support referees as much as possible.
Yeah, I think that as Paul said, it's becoming clear referee retention recruitment is a priority. So keep pushing it. Yeah, we're pushing for referees to register again for this season, and we will be, once we can run courses again, really pushing those to get new referees into the game, and like I say, retain the ones that we've got. That's the main thing really at the moment.
Okay, we've got a hand up from Keith. So Keith, do you want to unmute yourself and ask your question?
How do I unmute myself?
Yeah, you're unmuted now, Keith. We can hear you.
You can hear me, right? Okay.
Yeah.
It's just on the referees. I've
Yeah.
already had a number of referees who said that they're not going to referee next season, and you know it's all right talking about recruitment, but the numbers of referees have been going down steadily, and this year it's going to drop off a cliff.
Yeah,
we're warning our clubs of that situation, and I think we're making them aware that they're going to have to play a number of games without referees. It's going to be simple as that.
Yeah, and I think we've got to face reality at the minute. We know every year that unfortunately referees do drop out of the game. So we've got two things to look at: retention, making sure that their environment and their journey is as the best place possible for them to referee. But we know that people drop out, so we need to try and stop that, keep people in the game, and obviously get more in the game as well. The referee situation is going to impact all leagues. That's the reality of it. So we need to look at ways in which we can deal with that until we get to a point where we can start running courses and we can start recruiting referees again. So unfortunately, that's one of the challenges that we have to deal with, and we obviously want to work with everybody possible to try and get more referees involved as well. A question from Paul: Would a lack of referees affect Step 7 status? Are we referring to the whole league status there, Paul? Do you want to just answer that one?
I'm referring to our Premier Division, which is Step 7. We supply 3 officials to each one. I've heard certain rumours from league committee members that it may affect Step 7 status if we cannot provide 3 officials on a regular basis to each game.
We'll take that away, Paul. I'm sure you're aware that obviously with the Saturday football, the list gets shared around the Saturday leagues, and obviously with the Northern Counties League as well, you're up there in terms of one of the first to get the referees. But it's something that we'll take away, and I'll speak with Aaron about that and just see how we might work that moving forward.
Yeah, just catching
up. Thank you.
Sorry,
I noticed that Sylvia had a hand up, so I don't know if you want to unmute yourself, Sylvia, if you've got a question.
Yes, what I'm asking is, what's going to happen with regards to the fixture grid that's normally produced at the beginning of the season, when obviously our fixture secretary is not going to be able to know who's sharing with who, and obviously wanting to be on the opposite numbers, how we set them out each year.
Yeah, I can take that. I think Stuart might have emailed me about that already, and I saw that. Is it? Which leagues does it usually share with? It's something that I know Keith did some really good work with the Blades and the Imperial, who share a lot of facilities.
We just share with the Saturday leagues, which normally is the county senior.
Yeah.
That's about it, but basically, isn't it?
Okay. Well, I think it's something that we usually just facilitate, and it's done between the leagues themselves. I mean, I'm happy to set that up between yourself and the county senior. I don't know if Paul's got anything in on that in regards to.
Philip usually does it, and we meet up obviously down at the office usually. But what I'm saying is that we believe the county seniors already set their fixtures up using last year's grid. So could you possibly find out about that?
No, fixtures aren't set yet for county senior league.
Oh, that's all right.
Fixtures aren't set, so we'll arrange that. We can arrange a meeting between both.
Okay, then, look, that's lovely.
It's going to have to be done online, I'm afraid, Sylvia, at the moment.
Okay, look, thank you.
Happy days. I'm just making sure I've just not missed any. I know there's another few hands up. I'll just go through the chat first. Just Russ has put from the Doncaster League, Doncaster Junior, are we allowed to be more flexible in parents reffing games due to shortage of COVID? Sarah, Nathan, any thoughts on that one?
like parents could referee a game. In an ideal world, we have an FA qualified referee. There's nothing stopping you from having parents to officiate games. If it becomes something that's regular, then this parent would need an FA DBS in place. And obviously, if they're really enjoying refereeing games, then let's get them on a list ready to sign them up to a course. Whoever's in the middle of that pitch is in charge of the game and has the powers of an FA qualified referee as well. So if we feel that there's going to be lots of non-qualified referees being in the middle of the pitch, we'll make sure we put some guidance together to support them kind of managing the game, especially during this time, and what their jurisdictions are within that game as well.
Yeah. Thanks. Iris, yeah. I think we've answered yours already, Paul, in the chat. Mark, Billy, Rotherham, do start dates of each league. Just want to clarify what that means, Mark, if you want to take yourself off mute, mate.
Do you know the start dates of each league?
Oh, do you know the start dates of each league? I've got an idea from the conversation of each league. I know some are looking to start normal time around September, mid-September, late September. Some have been delayed till October just due to facilities or not having the league structure in place at the time or whatnot. But I think it all comes back to that communication with clubs and just making sure the clubs are ready to go for that time. It's all well and good the league being set up ready to go for September the 1st. But if your club facilities aren't in place, your clubs haven't affiliated, registrations haven't gone through, then that's something that you just need to communicate with your clubs to make sure that they're aware. But I've got an idea.
If you want to use the chat to share your start dates, you can do. I think a couple of people have put in there. So yeah, put in the chat when you're planning to start, and you can all see that then.
Leon, I've got to say the national picture that I'm picking up, it seems to be mid-September.
Yeah.
But in the last couple of days, people seem to be moving back towards October. For disability, that seems to be maybe New Year now, because obviously a disability league has other issues as well. And there's another, I don't think it affects anybody here. Those central venue leagues have got other factors to consider, but I'm pretty sure there's no one as a central venue league, so there's no point of raising them issues because it's not going to affect anybody.
That's fine. That's fine.
We've got a hand up from Stephen Clark.
Yeah, there's a few hand ups.
To unmute yourself.
Yeah, basically answering Sylvia's Stuart grid with our teams on, matching up with theirs from last season. I don't know when she's seen this grid. If there is a problem with it, tell her to get back to me. But I've matched it up last with the teams Stephen. In a county senior and teams in yeah. So if you can pass that message on.
Yeah, you broke up a little bit there, Stephen, but I think I saw that in the chat that you've already passed that to Stuart. And if there's any problems for them to get in touch with you.
Yeah.
Super.
Yeah.
And we've got a hand up from John Stainrod.
John, yeah. John, if you want to unmute yourself, mate.
I think I've done answer.
Yeah.
You have now. You have now.
Going back to Saturday's fixtures, the NCL haven't issued any fixtures yet. There's nothing definite for the start date, but the FA Cup and the FA Vars have both been drawn, and I think the 16th the FA Vars starts, and all local 5 and 6 teams, I would imagine, will be in it. So obviously after NCL have done theirs, county senior rag league can follow on. So, I think going back to Sundays, I think Meadowhall looking at starting on the 20th.
That's fine, yeah. Like I say, I think as long as you're communicating that club with your clubs, as I've said to you already, and talk through this, I think if they're ready to go for that time and the facilities are there and everything's got everything in place, then there's no reason why you can't start in time. But if it needs to be delayed, then that's something
we'll be
we can help you with.
We'll be flexible on it.
Yeah,
Knock it up now.
I've got 2 more hands up. Oh, no, I had one.
Sylvia, got another question?
Sylvia, sorry again, yeah.
No, I haven't got my hand up.
No.
Sorry.
All right, that's fine.
Keith, I keep seeing it pop up and back down.
Yep.
Yeah.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, perfect, mate.
Yeah. As regards the fixtures, at the moment, we're still aiming to go for the 6th of September from the start of the grid. But in the knowledge that there's going to be quite a few teams who won't know the pitch situation, but we figure that we know that some teams are going to be able to play on the 6th. So we might as well get in as many fixtures as we can, as early as we can, in case we have problems later on. One of the other things that we're doing is we're not going to play our cup competition either. What we're doing with that is we're leaving it until the end of the season. If there is time to play at the end of the season, then we will do. If there isn't, then we won't play it. We'll just concentrate on league games.
Yeah, no, thanks for sharing that, Keith. And I think that's a good bit of good practice that some leagues might want to take on board as well. Have we got any more hands? I think we've got Russ. Your hand up?
Yeah, evening guys. Just to echo that last thought, it's a motion we've got for our SGM to cancel cup competitions, which hopefully will be carried through to give us that flexibility. And then likewise tag something on end if we do get the fixtures out and sorted. I just wanted, I'm moving off start at the season, Leon, slightly, and I just want to know, is it just me and Donny, or has everyone got some frustrations with all game system, as in more the coaches and the managers and the club secretaries? Tell me it's not just us that keeps getting bombarded every day.
Is Rachel still on? She's I know Barnsley have had some struggles with them being the first time that they've come onto it as well. As I've said to you numerous times on the phone, it's going to be frustrating this first season getting clubs on it, because it's the first time you're using it, it's the first time clubs are using it. So in short, yes, it is frustrating whole game at times. We've had a few errors throughout the last few months, but like I say, any clubs that are struggling, if you can help them. If not, send them our way and send them towards the technology hub for that guidance as well.
I know there's some things I've already tapped you up for this, Leon, as such, but we can help a lot more if we're given certain edit rights where we can just tinker about with certain things, and we're not bothering you, and you can carry on with all the strategic stuff and we can deal with all the internal stuff. But I know it isn't happening, is it? Yeah,
there's a lot of little things where it's either it's a name change, a date of birth, things like that, photos, whatever it is. And it's down to GDPR, most of it, to be fair, that's just doesn't allow us to do it. I have expressed that to the FA grassroots team, Sam Yates and the rest of the guys there, whether that might be coming in, because I know there's potentially some updates coming, but at the moment, not. Sarah?
Yeah, I think just on that, like within the chat, Mark Pilly's put, if you want any help for full time or whole game, give Mark a call, and and I think this is probably one of the things that we want to get to is that all you guys as leagues, you've served the game for many years. So if somebody's unsure of something, don't hesitate to pick up the phone to another league secretary. Like Leon said, we're here to help. But if you want to speak to somebody, league secretary to league secretary, feel free to do that as well. I'm sure you can support each other through this. Definitely.
You're the guys who are very good at it and got the experience in it as well. So I'd share that thought. Rachel, I know you've got your hand up.
Hey.
Right.
I'm going to echo.
Just echoing a bit, mate. Yeah.
You're still in the office. You're going to turn your volume down, can't you?
Sorted.
We're both still in the office. Did I just hear right that there's going to be an update that we can edit until we approve?
No, I said that I've followed that back up with the FA grassroots team. I know it's a frustration, as you've been sending me through bits that only we can do. Whether that's something that might come in, I don't know. I'd be surprised regarding GDPR, but it's something that I will pass back, which I already have, in regards to making leagues' lives a little bit easier for those little things that could be a quick fix on your side instead of coming to us.
Yeah. It's just when it's silly errors, right? Obviously, the big things we've got no choice, but when it's silly errors, it makes sense for us to be able to, rather than if we've approved it. I understand we can't then change it, but if we can see it's something silly, it's extra for you guys to do.
Mm-hmm.
I think one thing that Leon mentioned just earlier, like there's a lot of leagues that for this time round have moved on to the whole game system, so a lot of these little errors won't hopefully, fingers crossed, won't be there in future. So this is probably, and we're saying this to clubs, this is probably the toughest time in terms of that administration, getting everybody on, and hopefully moving forward it will become second nature to everyone. And yeah, there might be little niggly things, but you know, I hope that throughout this time we've been pretty quick in terms of getting back to people, and you know, we'll be on hand to make any quick amendments that we can do.
Yeah.
Fab, thanks guys.
Welcome.
If the club does it themselves, they've got 24 hours to update and they change it. So that might help. But equally, if you let Sam know, we can take a log of it, because this has all got to get future versions have got to improve, and not knowing the issues helps with that improvement.
Exactly. Keith, have you got another question, mate? You're on mute if you just need to unmute yourself if you have.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Got you, mate, yeah.
The biggest problem that we've had with the whole game system is the photographs.
Yeah.
And I guess the teams, the leagues that are just coming on now are going to have the same problems that we've had. And the biggest saving of your time and our team's time would be to let the league edit the photograph. And that's a big thing, that if Nathan wants to take that away, it really is the biggest issue. Once you're on the whole game system and you've used it for a short while, it is relatively easy to do. And if anybody's got any questions or stuck, by all means, give me a ring. I'm Keith from the Blade Super Draw League, so you'll find me on our league website. But it is, if they want to take it away, when there's a photograph on there and you're trying to put somebody in your league who's already registered on a Saturday with a different photograph, with an old photograph, it won't let you register them on the Sunday.
Yeah.
Or it won't let the second league register them. And that's something that needs to be addressed.
Kate, it's funny, it's getting addressed because it's a debate that we've had because of that very issue, in the sense that one league might approve a photograph that another league won't approve because it's not appropriate. So they're doing some software changes, but the issue that you raised is one that gets debated a lot. So it's fully aware of, to help with future releases. So yeah, I'll take it back again, but they are aware of it, yeah.
Yeah, I think throughout last week or two, we've had a lot of these, and me and Sarah and the rest of the team have been logging these with FAIT, FA Grassroots, Tech Team, just so they're aware. Because it's usually the case that the photo is just out of date and it just needs updating, but it gets locked. So it needs unlocking, and that's not something that you have the ability to do. So it means we have to unlock it, and then the club can add a new thing in. So it's I think it might be a bit of GDPR around it, but ideally the grassroots team are aware of it. So I think that's probably something, like Nathan says, that might get pushed eventually, and the team are aware of. Not else in the chat at the moment, I don't think. Oh, actually.
Just a bit of feedback from Rachel, really, around it'd be great to change bit like name and date of birth. They're common issues, especially with people putting date of births as they were born in 2020 or they spell a name wrong or something like that. That's very common.
Yeah, I share Rachel's frustrations with that, as she knows. Russ, you got your hand up again, matey?
Yeah, just another one. I think it's kind of been touched on in chat, but are you guys aware of All Game with the logging in? Sometimes it's a bit hit and miss. Sometimes you can be 20 minutes waiting to log in. Then we aren't even doing anything, you're in. And I don't know if that's just everyone's en masse, everyone's getting the players on or whatever it is.
Yeah,
if you're aware, that's fine.
Yeah, it's a bit of that. We know there were a few issues with login, with the change of login through people having to use their email and having their own email not associated with any of the fans. So I think we might have got past the traffic of that now. But yeah, I know it can get slower, and the tech team are aware of that and do give us warnings when it might be slower or if there's any updates going on, and we do try to share those. So I'll try and keep on track of them and share them where there might be some downtime or it might be a bit slower. When's the best time for clubs to get on it to get stuff done where it might be a bit quieter. But yeah, again, I know it can be a bit frustrating, Russ, so I can just apologise for that one on behalf of us. Nath, you've got your hand up, mate.
I was going to say, and I don't want to cause work for Sam, but if it causes work for Sam, it causes work for Sam. Is it worth having one of these at a later point with the tech team, just to have these discussions and a bit more of learning around technology, and because sometimes you don't know what you don't know, and it can do certain things that you don't. I mean, I know there's been some webinars on, but I just wanted to, if that's an opportunity for a future league session. And to answer Rachel's point, yeah, I've been on at 3 a.m. in the morning last year or year before, and it does work. But yeah, it does. But that was 2 or 3 years ago. So yeah, but I just wondered if that's an opportunity, really.
Yeah, definitely. I think if people are willing to get involved in a team's call like this, then we'll share that and have different people from different parts of the FA, different sections of the FA joining us to share from an FA point of view, especially a tech team on that. I think that'd be very handy. I guess it moves on quite nicely to what I wanted to round off with. I'm not saying we're ending questions, just why I've got you all. This is something that we want to do moving forward throughout the season at different points. Whether it's in person or probably through this format, so I think it suits and it's worked quite well tonight, and I know it's worked quite well in your leagues. And it is more of today we've had a specific agenda. In future, we'll probably touch on bits when we actually get started of the season, end of the season, mid-season, different bits that might crop up, new guidance that might come out, anything like that. But I think if we could potentially look at having, whether it's monthly, quarterly meetings similar to these, if it would be handy to you guys, we'd want to get this going. And like I say, it wouldn't be mandatory, but I think it's very useful. And I think, like I say, we've had loads of leagues sharing good practice, offering help to other leagues that have got good experience in full-time or other tech or whatever it is, fixtures, allocation, whatever it might be. It would be more of a lead from you guys and us facilitating that and offering our advice on that and support that's available throughout the season. So any feedback on that, any key areas that you want to do going forward throughout the season, let me know either after this or give me a call tomorrow, whatever that might be. I think I will look to try and schedule these possibly monthly, possibly every 2 months, quarterly, whenever they're needed, just to keep up that regular contact. Now everyone's very tech savvy, let's even say. But I think there's a few more questions. So Keith, hands up, mate. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just about the whole game system.
Yeah, of course.
I can honestly say I've never had any trouble logging on, ever. So I'm wondering whether it's someone else's take.
I think you've just got very, very good Wi-Fi.
Thanks,
to be
Keith.
fair.
Thanks, Keith.
No. Honestly, I mean, I use it. I go on from my mobile phone. I go on from my home Wi-Fi. It never happened. I get on straight away.
Right, so the next session will be from Keith on the whole game system, and he'll tell you how to use it.
Yeah.
Good man.
Well, yeah.
It's nice to have some positive feedback on whole game.
Yeah, thanks,
Yeah,
Keith.
it's great. Russ, again?
Yeah, just staying on all game. It probably could go all game till midnight. This couldn't it?
Oh, we could.
No,
we could.
I'd be definitely up for like a tech meeting. Get your tech guys and gals on it. Some questions with that. For example, one thing that infuriates me, the bejesus out of me, is when you got you set your leagues, your teams, and you've got like 3 or 4 divisions, and you've got 4 pages, and you go onto the 4th page, and you're beavering away at that, working away at that, and you refresh the screen. It always takes you back to the first screen instead of just leaving you on that bloody page. Sorry, I get passionate, but if you could just fix that, just for me, please.
Yeah.
Going now, I'm going on a winner line. But yeah, if you can get something like that, it's little quick hits like that, just to make it user friendly. But yeah,
they're easy wins at the end of the day. Yeah.
Ross, it gives you any reassurance that the new league affiliation sanctioning, when that comes on board, I have written what the requirements are, and we've got to make it as simple as possible. So I'll get that point, and I get the point about making sure that the teams are in the right format for the right age groups, because you can't see certain teams. So there's, I'm fighting your corner to make sure that it's as easy as possible to save time for everybody.
Lovely.
So if you want someone to blame in 2 years' time, then I'm going in hiding. I'm going into hiding.
All right, nice one.
You know who to blame. You know who to blame.
Yeah, Rachel, you're right. The only system in the world you cannot use the back or refresh button on ever without losing everything. Haha. Yeah. That's all I've got. Any more questions, guys? Either in the chat or raise your hand if you want to vocalize it. Keith?
Yeah. Just to explain about using the refresh button on the whole game system. I found that quite frustrating at times, but one way I've seemed to have got around some of the problems is I go onto one of the other icons and then go back to the one that I wanted.
Yeah.
And you don't have to, and it seems to have stored the information so it's quicker coming back to it rather than using the refresh button, which more or less makes it start all over again.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Go into one tab on another tab on your left hand side and then jumping back.
Yes.
On. Yeah. I've noticed that as a bit of a trick. But like we said, it's an easy fix that we can probably stress that to Sam and the team, and hopefully Nathan can as well, and then we can go from there and with the updates that might come throughout the season. That hopefully will be one of them to make it more friendly, which I know is one of the main reasons they want to get it all mobile friendly, iPad friendly, whatever device you're using. It all looks the same. It works the same as well. So yeah, thanks for that, Keith. Any more, guys? I don't think there's anything in the chat. Any more hands? No. You got anything else you want to add, Nathan, Sarah? Oh, John, hands up, mate. Just gonna mute yourself as well.
We can't hear you, John, if you're talking. Oh.
Yeah, it's still
I'm
muted.
I'm not.
Oh,
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
I'll open window. You'll be able to hear me without a microphone there. The only problem I've had with the whole game is uploading fixtures in relation to suspensions. That's the only problem I've had.
Yeah.
That, you know, the bit where you're putting in the home team and the away team, it's a devil of a job getting the right way around.
Yeah, you've got your club hat on now, haven't you?
I have, sorry.
Yeah. But yeah,
Yes.
no, that's
So
fine.
this is
Yeah.
Nomination of games for suspensions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
I think now it's probably difficult now because it's the change of season and you're having to nominate games from previous season. Probably not the best expert to ask on this, but I think that's the challenge at the minute. Moving forward, obviously, if it's during the season, it should be a lot easier to identify because it'll be current season.
Yeah. That's my issue. So I know you've come to myself, haven't you, John?
It is difficult when you're in the current season, I find. But
okay, I'll feed that back to Sam and the rest of the team, like I have with everything.
Yeah, well, I mean, if I'm having that problem, I would imagine other teams are.
Yeah, definitely.
And not all clubs, as we know, Leon, are putting that information on. Okay, cheers.
Thanks for pulling that up.
I think you make a good point there, John, because I think obviously, as Leon mentioned, there's a lot of new clubs that's come in this season, and they're particularly adult clubs. So if you as a league feel that there's a need for us to support people in terms of managing their discipline a little bit more, managing suspensions and using the whole game, then feed that back into us, because we could do a similar workshop, but for clubs around managing discipline as well. So if there's anything like that comes up from your clubs, then please feed that in if you think it'll be worthwhile for us to put something on.
Yeah, I had a guy contact me who was struggling to sign a player because he'd been suspended in the past, and his previous club hadn't updated the games. So
that's usually I think. So yeah, I'd share that similar format like Sarah said. If there's anything like that you want to run your league for your clubs, whether it is for suspensions, whether it is around whole game, whatever it's around. I know a lot of you I've jumped on your league meetings in the past, whether it's in person or over this period online. But I'm always happy to come along to those meetings, whether it's just to sit in and answer a few questions or present, or do a workshop like Sarah says. I think take us up on that opportunity if you do want to put something like that together, and whether it's me or someone like we've had Mark on, who's still on, sorry, doing something on facilities or whatever it might be. We're happy to put something in place for that, so do let us know.
Cheers.
No worries. Keith, hand up again, mate.
Just to go back to something that John was saying, as regards the whole game system, it's a nightmare when the suspension is from last season, and there's going to be a lot of that hanging over. It just won't let clubs input them at all, and that is one thing that they really need to sort that out. It's not fair. It's not fair on the clubs. It's not fair on the leagues. One other thing about the red card that gets showed against a player's name. Now, as I've been going through approving players for this season, I've been getting a number of players with a red card shown against his name.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't tell whether it's means he's suspended from Saturdays, Sundays, all football, midweek, whatever. How about putting something in the middle of the red card, like an M for midweek, or an SA for Saturday, or SU for Sunday, or A for all, so that leagues know straight away when they see the red card, all right, it doesn't impact on us, or it does impact on us.
Yeah, just a bit more understanding of what the reason for that red card is, or if another one that I've thought about in the past is whether it's the fine's been paid or if it's just suspension games outstanding, whatever it is, just to give you a better idea on whether you're even happy to accept that player into your league. As I know. Yeah, well,
when I'm looking at it, if I can't find out why that player is suspended, I won't register them. I told the club, you need to come back to the county FA and find out why, and if there's a reason that they can't remove it, then we need something in an email to say that that's the case. For instance, there was a person who got a red card against his name because he used to coach a young team. He then stopped coaching that young team, and he let his DBS there finished, but because it was still in the system somewhere,
yes,
it then put a red card against him, and we had, that he wasn't allowed to play for some time before they actually sorted out what the problem was.
So in theory, that's not affecting his playing, that's affecting his,
I think on that, Keith, there'll be probably a small handful of scenarios if someone's got the red card next to them. So what we can do is we'll just put together a bit of a guidance sheet so we can pass on to clubs. If that does happen to them, then they can follow the process, and we'll be able to sort that out for them.
Yeah, and like I say, I've added it to my list for recommendations to add
it's
to
the leagues. Yeah, it's the leagues as well that we're approving players, so we want to know why that player is suspended.
Yeah.
It's important to us. We don't want to approve somebody who we don't want to approve.
Yeah, and unfortunately at the moment, that functionality is not there on whole game, like you say. And the only way you can find that out is by the club contacting us or you contacting us directly, which I know you've done before, or other leagues have done. So it's a question to the grassroots team, I guess, whether that's something we can put in place or recommendation that leagues want. But no, great feedback again, Keith. Thank you for that.
Okay.
No worries. We'll go again, guys. Any other questions? They're all in chat. Just some recommendations.
Go on, John's got his hand up. Do you want to go again, John?
Sorry.
Going back to what Keith was saying, I think the clubs should be able to see the offence which is connected to any ongoing suspension from last season.
Yeah.
And leave it to them to take it there. The scenario I had this last week, Leon, the lad were coming from a different league, playing our league, and they were really struggling. The team they were coming from didn't even, although they were played in Sheffield leagues, they were a Derbyshire FA registered team. But I do think, clubs have got to help themselves a little bit and say, right, this is where the offence is from, and take it from there.
Yeah, definitely, John. Definitely. I'll pass. Like I say, same with Keith's point. I'll pass that back. I've added it to my list to send to grassroots team for recommendations on this is what our leagues are kind of wanting in regards to the game going forward, because that's you're the guys using it, the clubs are using it. It's not us using it on a day-to-day basis. So you're the ones who want it the best it can be and know what's needed to improve it to make it easier for you and your clubs. That's great. Anything else regarding anything at all? Doesn't have to be all game. Don't think there's anything else in chat. Right. If that's everything, then, guys, like I say, I will try and that's something I want to do. Get these meetings up and going again, and just have checkups throughout the season. Different agendas, have a talking point at different stages throughout the season. Maybe have a league even running one, leading on one, giving some good practice, sharing on what's worked well in your league, and how other leagues can use that and take that away. But like I say, we're available we're here to help you at the end of the day and help your clubs. And if you have got any other questions, you know where we are. support@sheffieldfa.com. Majority of you know our numbers now. Get in touch if you need us, and we'll look to arrange another meeting. Probably aim for just before the beginning of the season, unless there's any massive updates from the FA and government in regards to that. But again, big thank you from myself, County FA, again, your clubs as well. Without you guys running these leagues, we wouldn't have them. So at the end of the day, your guys are pivotal to keeping me, Sarah and Nathan in a job. So at the end of the day, it's a big thank you to you, and thanks for taking your time out to join us this evening. It's been great, and I look forward to working with you before the season and throughout. Thank you.
Thank you, Leon. Thank you, everybody.
Cheers, guys.
See you later.
Bye.